What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be reacting to 9 exact moments WWE booking stopped making sense by what culture. Now, there have been many times as a wrestling fan, whatever company you watch, whether it's WWE or AEW, but specifically we're going to be focusing on WWE today. Maybe if they have a video for AEW, we'll check that one out as well. But there have been plenty of times where WWE starts a storyline or a feud, and it just seems like it's starting off on the right foot, but then it just falls flat because the WWE booking sometimes, especially nowadays, can be very questionable depending on what's your take on certain things that are happening in the world of professional wrestling. But we're going to get into it. We're not going to waste any more time, so let's get into it.
So 2005 has been a funny old year for WWE. There was always going to be a lull eventually due to how on fire they were in 2023 and 2024. But that doesn't make it any more fun when we do have a little bit of a drop-off. As impossible as it is, you want the product, as they say, to be great all the time.
Yeah.
I will still always say that I am glad WWE turned John Cena heel, because if we stop taking risks, we're doomed. That did sort of create a spiral of what-ifs as creative tried to get things back on track. As we are headed towards the end of the year, though, let's go through some of these and figure out what's next for WWE. Probably should have said that with a little bit more gravitas. Number 9, no Rock at WrestleMania.
Oh
So I
boy.
love The Rock in wrestling.
We're starting off very recent with this one because I feel like a lot of people were really looking forward to the John Cena and Cody Rhodes storyline, especially with The Rock being there as present as well, and everything that played out at Elimination Chamber this year, where John Cena, quote unquote, sold his soul to The Rock to become champion. We know the story between The Rock and Cody Rhodes, where Cody was champion and The Rock had that stare off after WrestleMania 40, sorry, and it had the exchange of the titles, and he even came back at Bad Blood, and he did the little hand gesture, and then people thought, okay, maybe we're about to see something happen, maybe going into WrestleMania 41, and people on paper, when you look at the way the heel turn was done, it was probably going down as one of the best heel turns of all time. But the execution was done very, very poorly with no Rock, and all we got was Travis Scott, and nobody really wants to talk about that, and for good reason. But like, you look at everything that happened, and it just feels like it's a whole missed opportunity, and it didn't make anything any better that The Rock went on there and said, well, I feel like I've done everything that I needed to do, so I'm taking a step back. No. If anything, The Rock should have still been there, and he would have been the reason John Cena could have won the championship. Then we had some type of explanation. We still never got any explanation on why John Cena aligned with The Rock and turning heel. We never got any follow-up on that. They never expounded upon that, and I feel like just overall, the storyline is a huge missed opportunity with The Rock not being present and having his presence be felt in that storyline. So hopefully that's something that does change. Or, well, hopefully we're not going to get anything with The Rock probably anytime soon. Probably until WrestleMania 43 because they're going to Saudi. So we'll see.
Rock and wrestling, which was a very different thing. He's such a big star, the world stops when he returns to Raw and SmackDown, and that's what we need from time to time. When it was announced that he would chat to Cody Rhodes on that one Friday night a few months ago, I pulled my car over to watch on the way back from one of my own wrestling matches. I had to know. I believe they call that power. Of course, the truth is WrestleMania 41's main event would just have been better had he walked down the aisle. The coming together of Rocky and John Cena at the Elimination Chamber had been awesome, and now we wanted a follow-up with very simple folk. The bigger issue, however, was Travis Scott came out instead. That's why that entrance music got the pop it did. We all thought it was the final boss, meant there was an extra level of disappointment. It also went all the way back to WrestleMania 40 when the People's Champion had been the one to pin Cody Rhodes in that tag match. Although look, WrestleMania Saudi is coming soon. I do not think that one is totally dead. Things just would have been better had Dwayne.
We're probably going to get Rock and Roman at that show.
He won the 17 world title, but hey ho, he didn't. And I have a future to think about, so I'm not going to get overly worried about the past. It was still most definitely weird there wasn't a Pete after this, but we all know the deal. The Rock is likely going to get nominated for an Oscar after his portrayal of Mark Kerr in The Smashing Machine, so I get it. I mean, it should have been the other way around, but find me somebody who's going to say no to that.
And then they literally talked about it. Literally, I already said it afterwards. They literally already talking about it. I just said it.
Rock wants Cody's soul. So we just talked about this.
That didn't go anywhere. Absolutely nowhere.
I loved it. It was totally nuts and bizarre. And when you do watch wrestling every single week, turns out I need a little bit of insanity here and there. A megastar telling me he was about to go Shang Tsung on the WWE Champion's ass. Even better, Cody decided he would have to think about this, like he didn't realize he was in a Bart Simpson situation, and yes, it led to the Elimination Chamber angle, and all of this was great. It also did come out of nowhere, and the reason it's hard to place now is because apparently this isn't what The Rock wanted. The behind-the-scenes gossip that we will take with a pinch of salt is that it was going to lead to a Rhodes heel turn, when I assume Triple H weighed in
And a
and
lot
said,
of people
no
thought it was going to be a heel turn,
he's the
myself
mega
included.
babyface we've been looking for, and while the time will come eventually, let's just wait it out a bit. It meant we ended this SmackDown with not much clarity, and even after Cena did turn heel, it was never really underlined why he chose to align with Rocky.
Exactly.
Because he wasn't there. We talked about it. In fact, apart from one veil aside, I don't think John mentioned Dwayne Johnson once, which is crazy. I mean, he jumped in with him. So it did make for a good TV moment because everybody was talking about this, but there were just too many loose ends. One of the strengths of WWE in recent times has been that everything feels airtight. This didn't. And Travis Scott. Want to get that in there again. That could be the whole reason, to be honest. That guy. In fact, number 7, Travis Scott. Let's get deeper because I need answers. Because forget John Cena, forget Cody Rhodes or The Rock, this really is the oddest one because what was his deal? Not one promo, not one match, not one nothing. He was at the Elimination Chamber because why not? Punctured Cody's eardrum when he slapped him too hard. Returned to
And
WrestleMania
he
to
never
get
got a
hurt.
receipt for that.
That was that. Poof. He vanished. He basically helped Cena win the WWE title too, so why didn't he do the same at Backlash or the rest? He just turned up for 2 shows and then went back to the Phantom Zone. If you take the, well, he's a celebrity out of it, it is some of the oddest booking for a long-ass while. What on earth was he trying to achieve? Genuinely, too, I do not begrudge anybody coming in if they have a platform and they want to negotiate a deal, but you do have to make sure it makes sense. John never really talked about him either, and it did hurt all of the above due to what we've discussed. People assumed if Scott was at WrestleMania, The Rock would be too. They were meant to be a trio. Rumors also suggested Travis was meant to have a match but didn't really want to train, which again is his prerogative. But as a fan watching on, sheesh, this was pure 2 + 2 = potato. Just don't do it. Number 6, nobody cares about Bayley, who is definitely having a nervous breakdown of sorts. Now, I love what Bayley...
I will say this. Though. I will say this. Bayley right now is having one of the best is having some great, amazing character work right now. I'm really enjoying what they're doing with Bayley right now. Her character work is there. I really hope that they continue to expound upon what they're doing. I think this has the potential to be one of the best characters in WWE right now on the women's side of things. Maybe even altogether, if you want to include male or female. She has the potential. The potential is there. So hopefully they do decide to expound upon it and do something really great with it. But only time will tell, you guys. Only time will tell.
Because I just like Bayley. That sounds weird, but if she does want to go full goofy wrestling for life, I am not going to get mad at it. I suppose split personality is the best way to describe what she is going through, and of course we saw this happen to her in video form. She was recording herself as she went a bit crazy, and we could even hear her inner thoughts. That was a bit weird, but wrestling, let's lead into it. When Lyra Valkyria and Adam Pearce were talking about this, however, Pearce didn't seem bothered at all. Poor Lyra essentially forgave Bells for costing her the Intercontinental title, as she had seen what was happening. But Adam, well, he's got last-minute tag team main events to book, damn it. I do want to point
I'm
out
sure he
that Adam
does.
Pearce is fantastic in his role. This was just one moment where it went bonkers. It also felt weird.
Embracing his
The whole
inner,
point of the idea is to sell it. Bayley has been through a
like,
lot
come
in
on now, like, this man
2025,
really
and
is
she was taken
putting
out
up
of
tag matches.
WrestleMania,
The fact that
back in
tag matches
his
are
Roman
main
life.
eventing Raw,
When it all got too much,
like literally
shrug
embracing
emoji,
his inner
somebody
Teddy
else will
Long.
just deal with it. Come on, Adam. WWE was just so good with this sort of thing a year prior, it was a bit off to be so blasé about a major storyline. I mean, imagine if everyone was like, Bayley, please listen to us. Just sells the gimmick more. Instead, it felt like there were more important matters to attend to, like not booking the women's US title. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Number 5,
No,
the Wyatt 6.
You're right. They don't do anything with
Which
it.
actually ties in here because the Wyatts sort of did the same thing. I just repeated the headline there. They were full on spooky wookie when they debuted and essentially killed everybody in the Raw Gorilla position.
Bro. All downhill very fast. Like, they had potential. They had the momentum behind them. The crowd was behind them. Literally one of the best returns of that year, I feel like. Literally one of the best returns. And they're, even though they're tag team champions right now, they just showed up in AAA like a couple weeks ago and whatnot. But yeah, man, they've kind of dropped the ball on them. And I don't know. I just, Honestly, I'm not even trying to be one of those fans, but I just don't care. I don't care right now. And it's not that I don't care about the talent. Like, you have great talent, don't get me wrong, but if you're giving me a reason not to care, then I'm not going to care. So it's just like, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too critical on it. You guys let me know. What do you guys think about the Wyatt Six and the way they're been booked right as of late?
And did that work? They felt like they were going to be WWE's reckoning, whether you were heel or face. If you did bad things, the Wyatts were going to be on your ass. Then a year or so on, they were just a tag team. This also followed a massive absence from TV, which didn't help at all, and the fact Nikki Cross does nothing is bizarre. We just mentioned the US title picture. She'd be great in that. A proper
She
force
had
to
potential,
fight.
yeah.
It took months
They
after they
need
came
bodies
back for
anyway. They
Uncle
need
Howard to
people to
start getting back
compete.
to his mind games as well. So for ages, it was just Joe Gacy and Dexter Lumis as the tag team champions, as Eric Rowan ran distractions. That is so WWE by the numbers, and do not do that with the Wyatts. They have to be the outlier, otherwise what's the point? We've talked about this before. If you don't sell fear, then there is no fear. So it kind of felt like cheating to hold on to those belts wasn't necessarily representative of what the group was trying to do, and it was all a little bit after the fact. It was way better when they debuted, when it did just tail off, meaning we never got the answers to so many of those cryptic promos Bo Dallas was cutting. You know, the ones, your soul's going to escape from your tuchus and climb up your nan. The hell are you talking about? When you do that as well, it essentially becomes hot air, and we do not want to get back to that. I really do not know why we sort of hit stop with them. They had something for sure. Number 4, CM Punk versus John Cena. Now let's not pretend that during John Cena's heel run, his best match was probably with CM Punk, because those two are just blood brothers when it comes
Yeah,
to wrestling.
they had one of the best matches of his heel turn. I know
I
people will make the argument that say it was Randy Orton. No, for me it was CM Punk for me.
Of course, when WWE decided to pull the trigger in 2025, we learned that it would be at the Saudi Arabia pay-per-view, where all of a sudden we got a meta storyline within a different storyline as we told a separate storyline. Because if you were a nerd fan, you knew about some of the tweets that Punk had made about heading to Saudi Arabia. I suppose WWE thought there would be some backlash, so everybody kind of skirted around this by saying it without saying it, so it was kind of a part of the angle, but it also wasn't. Now, if you were Johnny just started watching wrestling, you were probably viewing this going, what the hell are they talking about? They were deliberately talking in code. Given that John Cena was the heel as well, we all of a sudden played this like it was him bullying CM Punk to going, otherwise he wasn't going to get his shot. And I kind of think that you just had to reference this or totally ignore it, not do some bizarre halfway house. Some people also had a problem when John Cena turned the tables literally on CM Punk and did his own pipe bomb promo, which of course was a nod from the one that Punk did in 2011. I thought Johnny Boy was great there, but of course poor CM Punk had to lie in a table for around about 52 years, as some geeks watched on going, well, why doesn't he just get up? Now listen, you're 100% correct, and it is a fair criticism, but I'm also that guy. It's my favorite side of wrestling because it's totally silly. I think most people just saw the John Cena heel turn as an experiment when we never really pulled the trigger properly, and we've already touched on all those bullet points already. I'm still always going to say that I'm glad that we did get it, because that night of the Elimination Chamber was brilliant. But yes, if you do go through it with a fine-tooth comb, well, a lot of it does not make any sense.
Yeah, he's not wrong about that. I mean, they brought up the storyline with the whole Saudi thing, and they brought that into the story, but
Ties into number 3.
I don't know.
John Cena tries being a heel over and over again. So after he had gone bad guy,
I don't, and that's another thing, I want to bring up. You know, just speaking of John Cena, since we're on the topic of John Cena, I don't know if it's just me, but does it feel like when he was being heel, it kind of just felt forced? Like, it just there were moments, don't get me wrong, where it felt natural, but for overall of his heel turn, it just felt so forced, like he was just trying so hard to be this bad guy. When we look at the lore of heels, they sometimes feel forced, but a lot of the times, especially over the years, they were natural, and some people had reasons to turn heel. They had literally their gripes of wanting to be the bad guy. In their minds, they were the heroes when they were being painted as the villain. Look at just a couple years, like over the last few years, we've seen people like Drew McIntyre, Kevin Owens, Liv Morgan, all were justified in their heels. It did not feel forced because it came naturally. Because of the circumstances that were at play, they pretty much joined the dark side. And in their mind, they were the heroes. But if you look in the eyes of the fans, they were the villains. So I wish they would kind of went with something like that here, where he could have been justified and maybe him turning heel. Like I said earlier in the year, what you could have done, you didn't have to automatically turn him heel at the moment. You could have built a story and built a tease going into WrestleMania. You could have had the Rock looming, and this would have been a reason for him to turn heel. Maybe you could have had him in the Elimination Chamber match. You could have gave him a WWE Championship match where he lost, and then that would have been justified in him turning because he's desperate. He wants the championship. He wants the record. He wants to become 17-time champion. That right there, I can buy into. Then, but don't get me wrong, the execution was done poorly, but the moment itself of him turning heel was great. It's just the aftermath, the story afterwards. What happens after is what was the problem when you look back at everything. So I would have wished that they could have went a different way with it, but that's neither here or there.
Cena walked out on the following night's Raw and said that he was in an abusive relationship because the fans throughout his career had been horrible to him. When he was telling the truth, you go back 15 years or so, my gosh, the audience did not like him. Now, instantly,
Nope.
people were happy to back this back because if John Cena had done this in 2018, it would have made sense. But in 2025, during his retirement tour, well,
People don't want to boo him. They want to cheer him
in the crowd
because this
and
is
they
the
were
last
crying
year.
because they loved Jonathan Cena so much.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you can argue that he was the villain, so he wants to remember what people were doing a decade ago. That does make sense, but it also sort of felt like we were actively fighting the fans. You never want to do that. It also brought up a bunch of questions that were never really answered, like was he embittered by what Cody Rhodes was doing? Is that the reason he did turn heel and now he had a thirst for violence? And was he about to reveal that this was the last acts of a desperate man? He knows the finale is in sight. He's even booked a retirement tour, so he does have to win that world title even though he's lost a step. Now, Cena did lean into that side a little bit, but we never made it the central point of the whole thing, which, yes, once again made it more confusing. Given the dates as well, often Cody Rhodes and John Cena had to do this alone, and that was going to be the big feud that paid off at SummerSlam. And while they did have some great back and forth on the microphone, I think there's a lot of you out there right now that just never thought it hit the heights that it should have done. And I think I know the reason why. It's because John Cena never had that specific direction. We were kind of booking it as we went. Number 2, what the flub happened to R-Truth?
Oh
When
my
R-Truth got released
gosh,
in
bro.
2025,
Talk about fumble. Talk about fumble. Bro, they had it. They had it, y'all. They had a potential star in the making. I get it. He's up in age. He's not a younger star, but still a star. You could have done something with him. I'm not even trying to. I was sad to see him lose his job, but what they were doing with him before he left, they weren't doing anything. They were just having him be a jobber and be using comedic segments. Now, if that's what's up to him, maybe. But it's like you never tried. You never did anything. You just gave him tag team matches. Yeah, he won the U.S. Championship a few times, but one of which was by accident. So what did we say? We were talking about. He never became a world champion, which he should have been, aka Capital Punishment 2011. He should have won. He was one of the most over characters at that time. And John Cena was John Cena. He wouldn't have suffered from a loss because he's still John Cena. And then he gets released. He comes back at Money in the Bank, and people were literally cheering for this man. He was getting a huge pop, a great reaction. You could have done something with this. You did give him a match with John Cena. That match didn't really go anywhere. You could have gave us a rematch and have a legit match, and then go from there. If you didn't want to give him the WWE Championship, fine. But at the very least, you could have gave him a U.S. Championship or Intercontinental Championship run. But, like, we can't just sit here and just say, oh, they tried. No, they didn't. Because if they were trying, they would have done something. This is what I'm talking about. How many times have we seen in WWE, they get people to be hyped about a certain person coming back, only for them to do nothing but just to sit them down for no reason, or put them back in tag team purgatory or being a jobber again. This was an opportunity for them to capitalize and do something with him. People were buying into the character. People were finally buying into the idea of Ron Killings, not R-Truth. But then that only lasted for a couple of weeks, and now he's back to being R-Truth again, doing comedic stuff again. Like, why? For what? It does nothing. Why? We all, like, you had an opportunity to do something and you just fumbled. Like, I get irritated like when people bring that up. I'm sorry, you guys, but like, there was no need for this. They could have done something with him. There's no excuse.
I was genuinely stunned. Actually at my own wrestling show about to have a match, and because I was so mad about this, I went on social media and did a tweet. Yeah, that will show WWE. Well, as it turned out, lots of people went on social media, did a tweet, and the backlash
Exactly.
got so bad, or good, I suppose, if you want to look at it that way, WWE realized this was a stupid idea, and Ron Killings was hired back. Now, it's important to say the name Ron Killings, because for a few weeks he was back to his old character. He shaved his head. My gosh, he came across like a badass. It even felt like he wanted the United States title. He had a couple of matches with John Cena too, and actually wanted revenge on John for being so horrible to him. When Cena went back babyface, and from nowhere, like a magical man had clicked their fingers, Ron Killings had gone back to R-Truth. Now, I will tell you that he is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, so I was kind of psyched about this. Why can't we have the dual personalities?
Yeah, he could
He's
like
been
the same thing they're doing with
for
Bailey. Why can't they
years, but we didn't
do this
that.
with our
And
truth?
we just forgot that Ron Killings was being Ron Killings, and he was R-Truth again, doing the funny. And I want to double down on this. You know me. I'm still the same OG, and I love the funny. But we had this whole brand new direction we could go in, based on fans' outpouring of love. We just flushed it down the toilet. I presume that WWE just felt like it had all calmed down, so they didn't want to do something the fans had forced them to do. But it is such a damn shame. You'd have to imagine that this is going to be R-Truth's last big run in WWE, so we could have just given him a few months of programming. Instead, we did this. Now look, he's still going to make me laugh when he does do the whole goofy wrestling for life bit, which I do enjoy. But there was so much more here, man, and we did not take advantage of it. Number one, the origins of NXT. Now, I cannot lie, I don't often get to talk about NXT, but it is one of my favorite promotions on the planet. And do you want to know why, slap your head? Because nothing makes sense, and they do whatever the flub they want. And I really do think this is because Shawn Michaels has been told that he needs to grow the product, and the best way to do that is to kind of use it as an experimental ground. So if you do come up with a fun idea, you can likely get away with it in NXT. There's probably less red tape to go through. This was proven even further when WWE announced their deal with AAA, when basically we started doing all these Worlds Collide shows, and NXT superstars would go to AAA and vice versa. They even went after their titles. This also started to happen with TNA as well, and actually I think WWE is about to change this one, because the big battle between NXT and TNA is about to kick off. It's just
And
hilarious.
I'm
Sometimes
excited
WWE
for
will be
it.
going after the TNA World
Hopefully they don't
Champs on
fumble it, but
TNA,
I'm
and then
excited,
he'll be appearing in a
especially for
fridge
Matt
in
Cardona. I
NXT.
love my guy Matt
Ash Brom
Cardona.
Elegance comes back, and she obviously used to be there as Dana Brooke. Moose is here, there, and everywhere. Nobody actually explains who does book this, or how they are able to go through their own forbidden door, but my gosh, is it entertaining. I think if you remember that NXT is being treated as sort of like the little brother of Raw and SmackDown, is totally fine. But yeah, if you were going to write this down in a book and try and make a story out of it, nobody would be able to understand it because it's totally insane. And that is one reason why some people can't get into NXT, as well as the over-the-top characters. But in a world where I get this much wrestling every single day, keep giving it to me, please. It actually makes me laugh out loud. It is so damn wacky. Know of any other WWE booking moments in 2025?
Yeah, man. Those were just some examples of WWE's booking. Most of it was pretty much like I said, the John Cena and the John Cena heel turn, and the Rock not being present for it. Then our truth or the Ron Killing situation that could have went somewhere, and everything like that. But comment down below, you guys. What are some other moments where the booking did not make sense? Let me know in the comment section down below if they were not in this video. Let me know what it was, and what it is, and why. I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. But before we get out of here, make sure you super kick that like button, Superman punch the post notification bell, and spear the subscribe button. Takes 3 seconds out of your day to do those 3 things for me, helps in the progression of my channel, as well as we are on the road to 2,000 subscribers. Ultimate goal we're trying to reach is 10,000 and beyond. So if you guys want to support, go subscribe to the channel. It's absolutely free. You can always change your mind in the future, but why would you want to do that? I'm trying to give you guys daily wrestling content. The grind does not stop. But with that being said, hope it is a great day, great rest of your week, and I'll see you guys in the next video.